Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Knob Scott Cafe on a Monday night. I am Jimmy Young alongside my very good friend, Mr. Jimmy Myers. Hello, Mr. Jimmy Myers. How are you tonight?
I am fine. How are you, Mr. Young?
Very good, thank you. And of course, this is the twin brothers of different mothers show, also called the Jimmy Myers and Young Sports Talk Show. And we're going to be talking sports over the next few hours and talking a little bit about yesterday's Patriots game.
Do we have to?
Yes, we have to, because
Do we have to?
the funny thing about the Patriots
Let's
is...
talk about the Bruins.
No, let's not. Well, actually, they open up on Wednesday night.
Let's talk about the Red Sox.
Who?
Definitely not.
Who?
Let's talk about the Celtics. Definitely not. Okay, let's go for it. Go.
Well, the Celtics have a great young player named James Young, who I'm absolutely positively going to meet at some point.
Yeah,
and I
I
understand
know,
he's
I
made a
know.
very good impression. He's a 19-year-old kid.
I
He
know.
could be my kid.
19-year-old young man.
19-year-old young
We're gonna-
man.
We're going to get him there yet if it kills us, believe me. Go ahead.
One of the biggest
He
thrills
can
of my
play.
life, though.
He can play, though.
One
He
of my
can-
biggest thrills,
he can play.
hearing Adam Silver,
He can play.
and not David Stern, Adam Silver, announce
And
number one draft pick
yes.
for the Boston Celtics,
Yes, right.
James Young. Thank you very much.
And of course he recorded it.
Yes, I did.
He's put it all through his house.
Yes, I hear it every day.
Every time you ring his doorbell, it says number one draft pick.
Absolutely.
Jimmy Young.
I would love that. Would be a great ringtone.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be a
Jimmy,
great
I know.
ringtone. I think I
Why
can
did
handle
I
it.
take him there, ladies? Why did I take him there?
Ah, because you love it. All right, so you know what's funny? Here we were a week ago today, Jimmy.
Gloom and doom.
And hang on, a week ago.
Oh, my
It was
goodness.
before the game.
It's over. The Patriots.
No, they hadn't even played yet.
They're dead and never to rise again.
No. That was
Oh.
after the game. I'm talking about a week ago now. It was 2 hours before the Monday night game.
Tension. How will they do? What will happen? Oh my goodness. It's drama.
The funny thing is, you never heard anybody say, "Oh, the Chiefs are going to blow out the Patriots." Nobody said that.
Nobody wanted to believe that.
And as you're watching it, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was
Yes, I could.
shocked.
First quarter, I could.
I was
The
absolutely
First two
shocked.
drives down the field, I said, this is going to be a very, very difficult night for them.
And it was a nightmarish night. Perhaps one of the worst nights of Tom Brady's career. Certainly one of the worst nights in many, many years. But here we are a week later, and the Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl again.
From the outhouse to the penthouse, life is good.
Do you think people in this town will ever realize that every week is another NFL season?
No.
Okay?
No.
This is why
They
the
live on drama.
I know.
Fans live on drama. They live and die with this stuff. You got to grow up. You got to get a real life. It's not about that. You ride
Do
with
I
them.
have to grow
you
up?
ride with them when they're bad. You ride with them when they're good if you're a fan. They had a stinker. They had a clunker last week, Jimmy. It happens. There's 16 games, 16 regular season games in an NFL season. You're probably going to have 5 to 7 great games. You're probably going to have 4 to 7 terrible games. And somewhere in there, you're going to have a clunker. You're going to have one game where just nothing goes right.
And you know what the
that
most
happens.
important thing is, Jimmy? So far, the injury bug has not come a knocking on the Patriots' door. There's been a few nicks.
Yeah.
Okay? You look at the injury report around the NFL,
Oh, my goodness.
and it's an entire fantasy team. I mean,
But
there's some
I'm
great
s-
players on the sidelines.
Yeah, but I'm still concerned that it's going to come. That's what bothers me about this sport, that there are so many injuries. As I was going down the injury list today, broken leg, broken fibula, broken this, broken that, I'm saying to myself, by the time you get to the playoffs or that 18th or 20th game, it's amazing that people are walking in this league. And that's why when we talk about this drug issue, that these guys have to take such powerful drugs just to go out there and play. That's a drawback from the game for me. It really is. And,
Well,
and I looked
I'm
at
gonna
college. I was
disagree
watching
with
the
you.
college games, and it was worse. I mean, there were all types of injuries on the college field.
Well, I
over
think
the
the
weekend.
college. We can get into the indentured servitude that the college athlete has in this country, but today was the first day of HGH testing.
Yep.
And I think they're making a mistake because
Okay.
they use HGH to increase healing of tissue.
Yep.
So to me, and by the way, everything they do as far as keeping the athletes healthy enough to play the game.
Okay.
Now they're going to ban perhaps one of the most effective drugs to allow them to get back onto the field faster. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
I told you before, I don't have much faith in the drug policy of the National Football League. I just don't. There's a lot of things that's going on that people out there, the everyday average fan, you're just not getting. You're not going to know that there is such a thing in the drug world. It's called cocktails, where you're mixing drugs, where you're mixing downers with uppers, you're mixing amphetamines with painkillers and so forth. The things these young people have to do sometimes just to get out there on the field, it's frightening. And if you're a parent or someone like me who's known a lot of professional athletes, and you see the changes in mood, you see the changes in attitude, you see how a drug cocktail can affect a ball player in so many ways, it worries you. It should worry you. And I just don't have that kind of faith that, particularly with clubs, the individual franchises, they're going to do the best they can, Jimmy, to get their players on the field. And you'll take risk. And most of the times, these young people, Jimmy, they're going to take the risk because they want to play, because this is their livelihood, because they will only have a couple of years to do this.
Right, and they're young.
And they're young. And they think that you, like a lot
They're
of young
invulnerable.
people, you think you're invulnerable.
That's right, and it's scary. And they're not. They're human beings, and I've seen tragedies
But go to your
recently.
HGH point, because you just made a good point in the fact that
Wait,
that,
hang on a second. I made a good point.
all right. Remember what I told you? Take out the pole. Okay, take out the pipe so I can whack him. Ego from here back to there. Got it?
All right, I got you.
Point.
All right, I
keep
got
it
one.
back here.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
think of this. Think of this. This is a great. This is
I don't
the
think
great.
it's a good point. It's
this-
interesting.
No. It's a very good point for one reason. For years, we've known the effects of HGH and what it does and so forth, the healing process. But the bottom line factor is this: if it's going to be an illegal drug, you can't use it. So now you're going to have to substitute something else. Because don't think they're not going to find some kind of way to.
The chemists are always ahead of the testers, aren't they?
Hey, like I talk about the steroid world. Every time a new steroid comes on the market, believe me, there's some people over there in Eastern Europe that are 5 steps ahead of how to detect it. Oh, they're going to do that? No problem. We're 4 or 5 steps ahead. So by the time the drug cops or the drug police catch up with them, not going to happen, Jim.
All right. Well, we're also, I haven't really talked a little bit about this, but we're now live streaming on YouTube, which is kind of a relatively new thing. A lot of people don't realize how big YouTube is, and the fact now that you can live video
growing.
stream.
Don't
it's
worry.
growing. It's beyond growing. It's huge. All right, wait a second. Let's not cramp. Okay. So we're going to be on this live YouTube stream every Monday night from 6:30 to 8:30 here from the Knobscott Cafe in Framingham. If you are in the greater Boston area or in Metro West, we'd love for you to come down. Because it is burger night here at the Knobscott Cafe. $3.99 burgers. I had a lobster roll last week here that was unbelievable. I mean, I consider myself a Hall of Fame lobster eater, and this was in the Hall of Fame. This was an outstanding. That big? It was big. It's like that big.
Let's find Paul. Let's get Paul out here.
Well,
'Cause
he's running around.
Yeah, we're going to need to find Paul. Paul, we need to find you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Back to football. All right, we talked a little bit about the Knobscott Cafe, a little bit about HGH. There's a sense of relief in this area when the Patriots win a football game like they did last night. This was one of those games where it was a statement game. A lot of people call it a statement game. It was a statement game because the media, the fans, everybody were scared. They were so shaken up with how the Patriots lost to the Chiefs on Monday night. No one knew what was going to happen on Sunday. And in fact, not only did the fans and this area not know, those people down in Vegas who are pretty sharp when it comes to sports had the Bengals a 1-point favorite. And I think that score was, 43 to 17.
But the people in Vegas, remember, they play games there. That's what Vegas is about. And they play with your money. By putting them as a 1-point favorite, it made everybody want to go out and bet. Anybody all you people out there that do your betting, I don't do that kind of stuff, but I know a lot of my friends that do. They were loading up saying the Patriots will win this game. There's no way at 1 point. We get a chance to finally get a killing in here. And some money was exchanged. But we don't get into that, Jimmy, because I really don't care about the betting. But as you mentioned, it was a 1 point. They were 1-point favorites. But let's break this down very quickly and consider this. The Cincinnati Bengals are an underachieving club. The fact that they were undefeated going into the game didn't move me at all for one reason. This is a team that's failed in the playoffs the last couple of years, a team that has not played well in big games, particularly big games on the road. So, no, Jimmy, I wasn't that surprised. And once it got away from them, I certainly wasn't surprised then. I said they'll run it up because the Patriots know they have to leave some type of impression on the people that are watching them to look. we're not dead. We're not gone, and we're going to be here for a while.
And I think that goes for the quarterback, too. I was really amazed at the piling on of Tom Brady, okay?
I wasn't. I know Boston.
That's Boston. I get it. But
I know Boston.
It's just incredible to me. At some point, people are going to realize he's not upset. Yes, he was upset at the performance. Yes, he was upset at the result of the game. He's such a fierce competitor. That's what he's most upset about, and that's why he's frustrated. And when you're frustrated, you tend to get a little emotional. And that's what I saw last week all along. And then how ESPN can come up with this garbage reports about saying, oh, well,
Wait a minute, the Worldwide Sports Network?
That's right. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to replace Tom Brady, maybe sooner than later. And I'm like reading that on Sunday morning, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Somebody
fell in their bowl of Wheaties on that one. But think of this. Jimmy, when you read this kind of stuff, you have to take it with a grain of salt when you consider the following. 1, yes, he was upset. 2, he had a right to be upset. 3, he is a consummate performer who does not like to look bad. And 4, which is really probably like 1.5, most people better consider, it was Monday Night Football.
Everybody's
watching. You got
watching.
your butts torched on national TV.
That's why I think
nobody wants to look bad. It's not like this was a New England regional game where you saw it here, and maybe you didn't see it in New York or several other places. When you on Monday night, you are the stars of the show, and you do not want to go out there and flame out and get yourself literally torched, killed, embarrassed. And that's what happened, Jimmy.
And then they go out and return the favor on national TV again. And that was last night, and it made everybody I felt so much better. It's amazing.
It was a quick turnaround. The beauty of it was a quick turnaround.
Right. Absolutely.
As bad as you were, you got a chance to come back 6 days later and, okay, now let's do this on Sunday night, because Sunday Night Football is becoming as big as Monday Night Football.
No, actually, I think it's bigger because it's on a legit network. Sorry, ESPN.
Yeah, but
a broadcast network as opposed to a cable network.
Yeah, and but Sunday night is huge now. Because people are getting their fix all day Sunday, and they're gearing up for that Sunday night game.
Yep.
Some people work on Sunday. They can't get to the TV. Others will see one game. They'll see their team's game. If it's in prime time, it's normally that 1 o'clock game on the East Coast. So you see the first game. You're not really interested in watching the second game. Okay, I'll go away, do whatever I'm going to do, eat, do this, do that, do that. Then I'm coming back for that night game. So that takes me – I can – take my lady out. I can do whatever I want to do. Because you can do a lot of different things in that 4-hour window from 4 to 8.
Yeah.
Whereas unlike people like us who have to watch all those games, we're sitting in the studio where we're monitoring all this stuff. I do. But anyway, I'm just saying that it's different. It's different for us.
I have a honey-do list on Sunday. Don't you have that?
No.
Honey do this,
No.
honey do that?
No.
And by the way, I did it anyway. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what was the biggest difference from the X's and O's, and it was the play of the offensive line, because I think everybody recognized starting 3 rookies last Monday night on the offensive line was a big mistake for the Patriots. They bring in Ryan Wendell, and Dan Connolly slides over. They put the rookie Brian Stork at center, and all of a sudden, holy mackerel, Tom Brady is getting protection. This was the first time the Patriots had the ball in their first possession and walked down the field and scored. Patriots play so much better when they are ahead.
But you're home, Jimmy. You're supposed to
that's
play
good.
well at home.
Well, that's good.
There's nothing
34
wrong
and
with
1
that.
at home.
There's nothing wrong. 34 and 2, I think I'm right.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to look. As bad as we were, we have to come out here and make a statement. We got to get the ball. We've got to go down the field and create some havoc right away, which they did. So once they got in the end zone, crowds going crazy, everybody's up, jumping up and down, stadiums rocking. This is where we play. This is our venue. Now, when you get back to going, let's wait till they have to go on the road with another stiff road test. And then you can talk to me, because they're not out of the woods yet, Jimmy.
I can't talk to you till then?
No, they're not out of the woods yet, Jim. No.
No. Well, here's the thing, Jimmy. Here it is October 6th, and there's no unbeaten teams in the National Football League.
And that tells you everything you need to know about the league. It tells you everything you really need to know.
Anybody can beat anybody at any given time. And there isn't that much difference between an unbeaten team and a once beaten or a twice beaten team.
Years ago, Pete Rozelle, the late Pete Rozelle, was the commissioner of the NFL. He said he dreamed of a day of parity Well, you got parity.
No, I think he's had parity since they brought in that salary cap.
Well, not only that, but I'm just saying you also have parody, Parody,
Ooh,
because this is
that's a
this
nice
is
play.
this is a joke to me at times when I'm looking at some of these teams and I'm saying to myself, San Francisco 49ers, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Some of the best teams in the league are up, down teams. I don't have a team, Jimmy, that I can actually say right now, and even the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos went into Seattle, played well, but still lost.
That
so what I'm
game
saying is
should have been the Super Bowl.
it should have been, because if it had been, the whole league would be sitting there smiling today for all the money that would be thrown at
would have
it
been
instead of a
great
clunker
game.
like the Super Bowl, because that was a good game.
Right.
That
right.
turned out to be an
Beautiful.
excellent game.
Best game of the year, I think, so far.
Yeah, so far. But I wish that had been the Super Bowl.
Instead
Instead of being a regular season
I
game.
know. I get
A
it.
regular season game, whereas 12 weeks from now, if Denver is if they're 12-1 or 14-1 or 15-1, they're not going to remember that game. They're going to say, we'll remember it if we see them again down the road. But we won't see them again unless we go to the Super Bowl and they're there.
Yeah. So just a couple of factoids, a couple of stats for your reading and listening pleasure. When the Patriots run the football and for over 100 yards in a game, they've only lost once in 35 matches. Okay. Last night, 220 yards rushing with Stephen Ridley with 113, and no, he didn't put one on the floor. Not one ball on the ground, and that's what I keep saying every time Ridley gets the ball, just don't drop it. Please, do not drop the ball, because he's a good running back when he doesn't drop the ball. But when he drops the ball, he's not a good running back, and that means he sits on the sidelines.
No one is a good running back when they're dropping the ball.
That's right, because you're not running the ball
If Barry
anymore.
Sanders had dropped the ball enough times, he wouldn't have been a great running back.
Shane
you cannot
Vereen.
run the ball.
Shane Vereen.
You cannot drop. He's good.
10-yard average.
Can player. That guy can play.
Out of 90 yards, 9 carries. He's a Kevin Falk clone. That's what it reminds me of. He's a guy who comes in on third down or first or second down
I
now.
don't know if he's as good at Kevin Falk was at what Kevin Falk
not as a
did.
receiver, not as a
receiver,
blocker, not as someone who can block. Okay,
No, exactly.
I get
So
that.
what I'm saying, you're
Point
talking
being,
about
a change of
2
pace
out of
back.
3. But a change of pace back, yeah, he's good. He's
All
good.
right, we agree on that.
He can play.
This guy Brady had a decent game too. 23 of 35, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 30-yard pass. Now, it was
This is the
interesting.
same Brady that was being traded at the middle of the week.
By the way,
because
they're
of
still
tension-
talking about
because of
that.
the tension
Are you
between
crazy,
he
people?
and management.
You're not trading Tom Brady. He's going to retire with the Patriots. Bob Kraft is going to make sure that Tom Brady retires a Patriot. He's not. And
Can't say that, Jimmy.
I know I can't say
Only
that.
for
but
one
you know
reason,
what?
because I saw a graphic last
I
night
know, I
that
saw
said
it too.
of
Traded
the
this
guy
guy,
that they
traded
traded
that
this guy.
guy.
This
And
guy. I
then-
said to
wait,
myself,
wait, Bill
and then, wait a
Belichick.
minute, you know what I said? Collectively, they're not Tom Brady.
Right, no.
All of those guys. if you
Excuse
put
me.
them
I'm
together,
going to do my
they're
Bill
not-
Belichick imitation here.
Oh, please.
Okay. No one's untouchable. I didn't move my lips. No one's untouchable.
I don't know how.
He doesn't move his lips.
I don't
Nothing's
know
no
how
one's
this
untouchable.
town. I do not know how this town.
On to
tolerates-
Cincinnati. We're on to
tolerates-
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Okay,
to-
we're on to
tolerates
Buffalo.
this
We're on
guy.
to Buffalo.
I just don't. I don't understand how this town tolerates the foolishness,
I-
particularly the media members, how they allow him
What are they
to
gonna do?
not just talk down to them because you need to get in his face and challenge him. You need to
I
say,
think
hold
that's
it.
what they have been
First
doing
things
all
first.
week.
No, they have not. Because I've seen it too many times. It's almost like you're genuflecting to this guy. I said, we're moving to Cincinnati. I would have said, is that all you have to say? We're moving to Cincinnati. Okay, Coach, you can leave. Thank you. Dismiss him. Then how do you think he'd feel? Then he'd want to get hot and say,
No, he wouldn't.
because you're disrespecting us. Why should we treat you with respect?
Now that's an interesting. That actually wouldn't that be an interesting kind of act of
Bill
civil
Belichick, you
disobedience?
don't want any parts of Jimmy Myers because you're
know?
going to treat me with respect. Because if I ask you a question, I want a dignified answer. Now, if you don't know the answer, that's one thing.
Make it up.
But if you decide that you want to take this holier than thou attitude, like you think you invented football, like you're the only person that knows anything about football, and that the people sitting out in front of you, they don't have 1/10 of my intelligence in regards to this game. Bill, get a life. You are not the most character-strong person that I know, because we know your ragged history too. But at the same time, when you're standing in front of a bunch of people whose job it is to ask you questions, that's their job.
And
you
he
don't
said it.
have to like
I know
it.
you're only doing your
Nobody
job.
cares. Nobody cares whether you like it or not. Part of your $5 million salary is predicated on the fact that the league is so popular that you can make that kind of money because of those people sitting out there asking you those questions. And for media people, have some guts. Arch up your back a little bit. Walk in there with some qualified questions or some pointed questions where you're going to put this guy's back to the wall after that 44-point disgrace last week. And when he wants to go, we're moving on. We're going to move on to Cincinnati. We're going to move on to Cincinnati. Is that all you have to say, Coach? Because because Jimmy, it's very easy. We could get a parrot to come in here and say that, Coach. We can get a parrot to come in here and say it because see, I just don't understand. I do not understand these media people today. I mean, it's like you're afraid of Bob Kraft and this guy. Like Kraft's going to pull your little credential if you ask a difficult question. And the way, this is how, we run the football. We do this, we do that, we do that. My gosh, man, if you don't want to do it, take the fine from the league each week and don't go in front of the camera because you come across as an arrogant, self-serving knucklehead as a coach. Sorry, Bill.
It's right there in my notes.
Sorry, that's you.
Arrogance of organization.
And your organization comes across like that. Who do you think you are?
He's Bill Belichick. That's who he thinks he is.
No. He ain't that big. Because he's not bigger than the game, Jimmy. Kraft's not bigger than the game. The Patriots are not bigger than the game. No one is bigger than this game.
And that's why a lot of people don't like the Patriots around the country.
And that's why they don't like them.
All right, that being said, what he did on Friday when the report came out about the fact that Aaron Dobson got into it with a coach and spent about 20 minutes answering questions or non-answering questions, if you will, and then half an hour later sent out a statement answering the biggest question that everybody wanted to hear was really, I don't know where his PR people are right at this point giving him that kind of advice. But you know what? As you're saying, Jimmy,
that's
have
the
some
height
guts
of
and
arrogance.
Come out and say it.
That is the height of arrogance because I'm not going to address you face to face. I'm not even going to respect you enough face to face to answer you. But a half an hour from now, I'll release a statement.
Right.
Who do you think you are? And as a media person, yes, I'm insulted because I want to put my foot up your ass. That's the way I feel right now because I would tell him to his face, no, you ain't talking to me like that because there's not enough money in this world for Bill Belichick to talk down to me like he knows more about journalism than I do because he doesn't. Because Bill Belichick never wrote a column in his life. He's never had to make a deadline. He's never had to do anything. Coach football. Go do what you do.
That's what he does.
Go do what you do. But Jimmy, part of your job is to come here and sit down and talk to us. And if you don't want to do it, hand back the $5 million. Say, look, I think I'm just going to go out and rake weeds for a while or get my weed whacker and go do something else for a living. You do this for a living. Yes, I will be the first one to tell you, sometimes the press, yes, we are a pain in the butt.
You're doing your job.
But we're doing a job. We live in a media world, particularly with social media, that people have this yearn to want to know. What do you think it's been like for you good fans up here? Because I operate out of New York. What do you think life has been like for Bill Coughlin? And I don't think anybody, Tom Coughlin. I don't think anybody has been more difficult to deal with than Tom Coughlin when he first got there to now. Michael Strahan was getting ready to twist his head off at times. But Bill calmed down and realized, look, it's part of the job. A couple of weeks ago when they were in major trouble, what did Tom Coughlin do? He called the whole team in and said, guys, I'm going to stop being so critical. I'm going to stop making the crazy gestures on the sidelines when you make mistakes. My job is to try to stay calm no matter what you do. And Eli is throwing the ball all over, Manning's throwing the ball all over the place. But they seem to have now settled into a rhythm of how they want to play. And Tom Coughlin, I'm telling you, I don't know too many guys that are tougher than him. And I've talked to Tom Coughlin.
He's a very good coach.
He's a very good coach, but a tough coach. Too.
By the way, I'm talking about tough coach. Where does it say in the Coaching 101 or the Player 101 handbook that the coaches have to get along with the players, that the players have to be all nicey-nicey with their coaches? In fact, isn't it better when there's disagreement in a business and you have two sides to an opinion about whether we should be running more running plays or doing a double tight end set at that point? I mean, isn't that going to make them better?
Let me ask you a question.
You can ask me anything you want.
Think about this. Management is not going to get along with employees in this business. So why should the coach, who's a part of management, have to try to get along with players? Your job is to coach the players. Coach them up, get them on the field, get them to do what they want to, what you need them to do. Now remember, no one there's no one in the world that can tell me on a 53-man squad with all those taxi players, whatever, that everyone's going to be happy. It just doesn't work like that. But there can only be one boss. There has to be one person who makes the big call. And during the game, Bill Belichick, that's your job. Now, Kraft can argue. You two can go in a room and scream and holler at each other when the game is over. Do whatever you want to do. But when the game decisions have to be made, 4th and 1, are we going to punt? Are we going to keep the ball? Are we going to kick field goals? Are we going to do this, that? That's where Bill Belichick focuses, and he's okay. But the bottom line is,
because he's a football guy.
That's what he's supposed, Jimmy. But that's what he's supposed to do.
Okay, so he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Like you said about the tension aspect. Vince Lombardi ruled by fear. It's in his books. I read them all. It was in his mode, but it's a different time and a different place.
Absolutely.
Today you have to talk to athletes differently than you used to be able to talk to them. You used to be able to say anything you wanted to them, and they had no recourse. Now you reach a point with a team that's truly in a transition period of struggle. They're trying to figure out what's going to be their identity. Yesterday was great for one reason. They ran the 2 tight end set. They found Wright, a new tight end. So now they're finally throwing the ball, but you're still inside the hash marks. You're still not operating outside those hash marks where you can stretch the field. So keep this in mind now, because when they go to start playing other teams, now Mr. Wright will find out what life is going to be like in the league this week for one reason, because we get a chance to game plan for him. He's not walking out there, who's that guy? Who's 81? What's he doing running around? That's not going to happen now, because every coach is going, okay, 81, okay, these are the patterns he's running, okay. Now we've got Gronk here, we've got him here. Okay, they're going to run a double tight end set like they've been doing. But as long as they're not running down the field, getting deep on us from outside the hash marks, we have nothing to worry about, because we can keep them inside those hash marks and we can stop them from making long drives when it counts. Now, think of this. One more point here. LaFell last night.
Yep.
He gave up on a ball. And I'm going to tell you that to your face,
did.
brother. You did. Because that ball, Brady throws one of the best balls in this game. And he laid that ball exactly where that ball was supposed to be. If he's running full stride, he runs right under that. There's the bomb. There's the one element that I wanted to see last night that I didn't see. And I was upset because he gave up on it. And then I hear anything more about him for the rest of the game. It was like, okay, you can just go over there, because you can't miss opportunities, Jimmy, like that. When you're getting guys open down the field, you can't underthrow them, overthrow them. Plays like that have to be made, because those are impact, game-changing plays. That play could have been the topper on the whole night. And then everybody's confidence is that if we run what we're doing, and it's working to this point, and we start stretching, open up the field, big plays are going to be available down that field. And then we have the offense back to where we want it.
Yeah, and it's no disrespect to Brendan LaFell either, that he's still learning this system. And it looked like, there are sometimes when Brady goes back to pass and the receiver cuts the wrong way or decides to run a little button hook and stop instead of continuing on. There's got to be some kind of mental telepathy between these guys that has to exist. Because,
not a deep ball. Not on a deep ball.
I agree. They
not
should just
on a deep
keep
ball.
running.
For one reason. Because the pattern breaks down as such. We have tight ends going across, crisscrossing. They've got the underneath stuff and the linebackers locked up. You're one-on-one, Jimmy, and I don't care. He's got to overthrow me for me not to be running at full speed. Now, remember, I've got the DB right here on my hip. He's got, I think it was Pac-Man Jones. He's got him behind him. All he has to do is, even if you don't run under it, you dive and stretch out for it. He had this effort like Brandon. I'm telling you, Brandon, I'm sorry.
He stopped running. That was not a good thing.
You stopped running like, okay, he's looking on that side of the field, so I'm looking back and I'm not running. No, you keep running, because I bet you won't do it again. I bet you next time he'll be trying to fly down there, because that's a 60-yard play, Jimmy.
Right.
I mean, that's a touchdown.
What they're missing, and that's what
they're missing.
And they're missing that. Couple of things about the double tight end offense. Not only were they able to get that underneath stuff and what have you, but they did extend the field a little bit. Gronkowski had a 27-yard reception. They also blocked for the run much better.
They
when
blocked,
they have
period,
two,
Jimmy.
Yeah, but when they have two tight ends in there, they can do that too.
Jimmy, there was a halo where Brady could stand in the pocket and see all day long. Against the better teams, that's not going to be there because they're going to go back to the Kansas City game plan. They're going to say, look, we're going to put some heat there. We're going to be bringing backers. We're going to be bringing DBs. We're going to put a lot more pressure on Brady. He's not going to be standing back there looking around like he did last night. Cincinnati almost gave up after when it was
after the touchdown.
No.
The
14
turnover
was
on the touchdown.
14-0. Tight end drops a wide open touchdown. That's a 14-7 game, Jimmy. You
Right.
change the whole game around.
Right.
And then you kick a field goal, it's 14-3. Game's over. The moment he dropped the ball, Grenshaw, the young tight end.
Who is it?
Gresham.
Thank you.
Yeah, Gresham.
Hi, Joe.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you. We'd be lost without you.
And I'm
Thank
sitting
God
there.
you're
As
here.
soon as Gresham dropped the ball, I said, game. I said, I can get up and leave now. I said, because that sucks the air out of the whole team. Because they're saying he's wide open. It's 14-7. And as bad as we played up to this point, now we're right back in it. And they've got to get the ball, and they've got to do something because all the momentum is right back in our favor again. Didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the defense because I think the Patriots defense played pretty well, and it was predicated on the fact that for the first time they used Darrelle Revis the right way. They actually made him a one-on-one defensive back, which is what his reputation is all, but it's why they brought him in here, was to be a shutdown corner, and he finally shut down a guy, A.J. Green, who was so freaked, by the way, that even when he was open, he was dropping balls.
A.J. Green is not the receiver that everyone thinks he is, and more importantly, A.J. Green's not the receiver that A.J. Green thinks he is.
He still had 7 catches.
Doesn't make a difference. You drop the ball, the fumble killed them. Right before it killed them, Jimmy.
Yep.
Because one, you shouldn't have even been trying to go down the field then. Run out the half, go in, say, look, we're down. But that fumble turns everything back around again. Now the Patriots roll right in. Game is over. It's game, set, match by halftime, Jimmy. You listen, as much as I like Marvin Lewis, I always liked Marvin Lewis better, the head coach of the Bengals. I liked him better as a defensive coordinator. That's where I think his true strength was in his career. Now, of course, he gets elevated from them winning the Super Bowl in 2000 against the Giants. That was the Ravens against the Giants. Brilliant game plan, did a great job, so forth and so on. But as a head coach, he's underachieved, Jimmy. So what has he done? What has he done? And the few successful seasons that they've had, they immediately get in big games and they get embarrassed. They haven't lost playoff games. They've been embarrassed in playoff games.
And I think, Jimmy, you've already touched on this about the role of the coach in a game. It's not just X's and O's. It's getting the players to play for you, to buy into your system, and to perform at the highest level you possibly can.
And to be able to make adjustments on the fly.
Right.
If something bad happens, how do we react to it? How do we react to Gresham's drop ball? Okay, we settled for a field goal. That's 11 points. That's 4 more points instead of a 7-point game. We got an 11-point game. We got a cushion, big guy. Don't worry. Everything's fine. We're all right. Then they come right back and they score. Game, set, match.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, one of the other part of the game that I thought was a little sloppy, let's just say. First possession of the Bengals in the second half.
Oh, terrible.
55 yards in penalties against the Patriots.
Terrible.
What was it, a 70-yard drive?
70-yard drive.
77 yards.
You're talking about the Patriots? Yeah. Their defense got crazy because
they were calling things that were a little
because they're running. No, not ticky-tack,
yes,
Jimmy.
They're
running all over the field. And instead of Jimmy, believe me.
Is that a foul?
If they're going to call that, Jimmy, and they've been calling it, then believe me. I mean, every time I'm watching a game this year, the first thing I say to myself is, oh gosh, here we go. I'll see an incomplete pass. It's 4th down. Now I see the flag. I said, nope, it's not. Here comes the first down. He was 15 yards down the field, and he was running with him, and he just held him. Now it's automatic first down.
Put his hand on him, which is different than holding him.
No,
right.
Whatever.
No, it was ridiculous.
I mean,
what you have to hope. Flow of the game?
What you have to hope is that somewhere within the context of the game, within the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, that this stuff will start to level out and that they will let these guys play. But the edict has come down from on high. It's come from the league.
I'd love to see
this is an offensive league.
Yeah.
We're not going to let the receivers get touched. This is the way it's going to be, and that's just it. I mean, I watched A.J. Green last night, and believe me, 24's coverage was not that great, Jimmy. He gave up. There were certain times where Revis just had him so checked, he wasn't even trying to shake, beat a guy real badly. And then the few times he caught a ball, he was so shaky, he's putting it on the ground. If your number one player puts the ball on the ground right before the half, and we're already down 11, the game is technically over.
No, it was in
Game's
control
over.
from the get-go,
Now,
which goes back to that first possession.
Let's go. Okay, these are the things that happen. Then you have a fumbled kickoff. A fumbled kickoff. First thing,
Former Patriot.
Tate should have never brought the ball out. It's too deep. You're trying to make what's better known in our business as a hero play. You're trying to be
And end up as a GOAT.
And no, then you fumble it. Kyle Arrington picks the ball up and then does one of the silliest things I have seen. And I'm going to say this, Jimmy. I have
Why,
to say
because
this.
he dove into the end zone?
No, Jimmy. He tried to somersault into the end zone, acting like a perfect fool. What if he broke his neck, Jimmy?
Actually, you know what's
He
funny?
could have broke his neck doing something like that.
I know.
You don't need it.
Hang
All
on a
you
sec.
got to do is get across the goal line, then do your little celebration. Jimmy, he dove and tried to somersault. What if he lands on his head and breaks his neck? Then everybody in the NFL will be talking about that. Well, you can't do somersaults in the end zone. Why would you even do something like that, Kyle?
It almost looked like that was the best way for him to get
No,
into the end zone.
Come
I
on.
said
please.
almost looked
Dive
like
to the ground. Dive underneath.
Wait,
it.
I got a
Come on,
picture of
Jimmy. I mean, that's just absolutely
picture?
crazy.
Where's
When
the
you
picture?
do stuff like that, young people, you take away from the moment of what you did. You don't. It's like you're trying to make yourself bigger than the team or bigger than the play. Oh, look at me! Look at me! Look what I'm doing! I have to be seen, so I'm gonna leap, dive, spin over in mid. When Peyton Manning threw his 500 touchdown pass yesterday, which is a milestone, did you see him try to do a backward cartwheel or try to do a backflip or anything?
No, he does what he does
Went to the
always.
sideline.
Act like you've been there before.
Act like you've been there before, Kyle. And Kyle, grow up, because you could have been seriously injured on that play. And then people would have been talking about how stupid a play it was. Because I got to use, and I don't like to use the word stupid, but I will say very immature. That is a very immature
I looked at
play.
it. I want to see it again because it did look like he's going to
Immature,
dive. He's going to dive. He's
Jimmy.
going to have to dive to get in. That's
Jimmy,
what my thought was.
Jimmy, that's dangerous.
I know.
This is a dangerous game.
So
And
it's
the
going
least-
across the middle.
And the least thing in the world you need, then why add danger to it? Why am I going to do something that's going to put me in jeopardy of being seriously injured?
I think that he knows his limits and he knows his ability, and he felt he could get away with it. And guess what? He did.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, see, if that's the young people's thinking of today,
That's what I
that's
think
what
his
I'm worried
brain.
about. Young,
Well,
that's
I'll
why
agree
I'm worried
too.
about young people.
But I
Because
think
if
that's what his brain
if
said
Kyle
was.
Arrington was my son, I would have been on the phone with him that night saying, "Son, your mother and I raised you better than that. Grow up. You're just playing football. This isn't brain surgery. You haven't cured cancer.
That's my
you
life.
haven't come up with the cure for the common cold or anything. All you did was scoop them a football, and you could have walked into the end zone. You really didn't have to do that. Now, if you go back. You said you're going to look at the play. Go back and look at the play. There was enough area for him to get the ball. He could have reversed and started moving towards the middle of the field. He could have dove into or underneath the guy, trying to jump up in the air and do something silly. Jimmy, the first thing they tell running backs in this league is don't jump up in the air.
Yeah, but it
Once
wasn't a
you're
running
in
back.
The air. Excuse me, I'm saying they tell running backs this, and they carry the ball much more than the defensive back does.
No, I know, but he's just trying to get it in the end zone. That's all he was thinking. I
we're
want to
not
get this
agreeing on
ball
that.
in the
Okay,
end
good,
zone.
Good. If that's your thinking,
That's what he's
fine.
thinking. That's what I
If
think
that-
his thinking was.
I don't know
I'm
what
not-
he was thinking, because to me, that is not thinking. That is just being loony bird. That is just like losing your mind.
He's
Oh,
a football
there's a
player.
football
They're all
player.
loony birds.
No, I'm not going there. Oh, there's a football. Oh, I'm going to pick it up. Oh,
Yes.
I've got 5 yards to go into
I
the
need
end
to
zone. I've
jump
got 10
into the
yards
end
to go into
zone.
the end zone. Let me dive it. No.
Because I don't want to. I don't want to
Jimmy.
be done at the 2-yard line.
Jimmy, no.
Okay,
No.
that's good. He went out. You see, Joe Braverman's ready to cut him, run him right out of town.
Yeah, hey, he's going to run himself out of this game if he's making plays like that, because that's dangerous. I'm sorry, Jimmy. When I saw the slow mo of that, I said, "Do you realize he's flipping over? If he comes down on his helmet, if he just can't, if the DB had, if the player, this Bengal had hit him, and he turns just a little bit, he breaks his neck. He breaks his neck. No."
I'll tell you what.
And I would love to hear.
I'll tell you,
I would love
Jimmy,
to hear what
hang on a
Belichick has to
second.
say about that. I would love to see what
I'm
Belichick
sure he
was
does.
sitting in the film room going, "What the hell was he doing? What was he thinking?"
Tell you, they're more apt to break their neck by throwing themselves at plays with their helmets first than they are doing a somersault into the end zone. My feeling. That's how I feel.
Okay.
That's what I think they
Jimmy,
were saying.
I said before, it's a dangerous game.
Absolutely.
Why add another element
I don't think
of
that was
danger
as
to it?
dangerous
Well, I
as
do.
other things in the game.
Well, I do. We just
I know. That's
totally
okay.
disagree on
It's
that.
okay. We can
I
do
mean,
that.
think
It's
about
about freaking time.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Is he as good as Barry Sanders?
No.
Never saw Barry Sanders do anything.
Barry
dumb like
Sanders
that.
was a running back.
It doesn't make a difference.
And Arrington's a
All right.
knucklehead.
Okay, hold on.
Knucklehead
Okay.
plays special teams.
Okay. No. Let's go. You ever see Jackie Slater do that?
But again, you're talking about a great position player. Not somebody who's just playing special
I can
teams.
go down.
and
I
is-
can
is
keep
like a
going down.
backup
a
nickelback.
list. I keep going down a list of players. If they didn't do it, like you said, act like you've been there.
I understand. I
Act
like that. I'm
I
with
know
him.
what I'm doing out here, and I'm responsible. And
My feeling was that his mindset was, I'm not showboating, which is what you're saying,
Okay.
and exposing myself to perhaps a stupid injury. I'm telling you, I'm watching that play, and I'm like, he's going to have to jump into the end zone to get away from that tackle.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking there's some young child out there, and this child that's going to try a stunt like that too. There's some young people saying, "Oh, if I get close to the end zone, dive in."
Then those
and try-
coaches.
and roll.
Well, then those coaches
and those
need to-
coaches have
yeah,
to be
no,
sitting
no,
there
no,
going,
that's
"Oh
right.
no,
Don't
oh,
be
no.
doing that."
Oh no, because yes, they do, Jimmy. Because I work with young people, and
And they
they
wanna
emulate
imitate
that
it.
stuff.
I
They say,
get
if
it.
you get near the end zone and you see somebody that may try to jump over him. Jumping over
No.
somebody.
He didn't jump over, but he
I'm
jumped
just-
up out of the way.
I'm saying, anytime you leave your feet,
You expose
you
yourself.
expose
I get it.
yourself to inherent
I
dangers
get
in
it.
the air.
I get it. And by the way, they're all not. Didn't we talk about the youth not being the most intelligent
I'm saying
people?
they all, because you paint with too broad a brush.
I'm not
there are a
painting
lot
with-
of
I'm just saying
sensible
thi-
football players.
Okay.
That all of them are not knuckleheads.
Okay, I agree. That was a knucklehead play,
That
though.
was a knuckle.
I understand.
Now you're saying it's a knucklehead.
Because
That's the
he's a
only way he
knucklehead,
could
because
get in.
he's young enough to do it.
he-
But
he-
I
he had to
still
get
think
in.
that his brains. I'm trying to give you insight on the knucklehead. Okay, and inside that brain of the knucklehead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you looking
inside
into-
the brain of the knucklehead? Go ahead. I want you to finish to explain. I love this. Go
He's
ahead.
like, I need to jump up over to get into the end zone because I don't want to get tackled.
Now this is knucklehead thinking, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just checking. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
That's what a knucklehead does. That was all your fault. Thank you. We're still here. Go ahead.
Do we
I
need,
need more ice
do we need
cream,
a
thank you.
refill?
That's the beauty of it. Just ask for more, you get more. Don't worry about
Oh, my goodness. That was a good recap of the game. I got other
it.
things
Let's
here.
bring Joe in it. Joe,
Joey, come
over
on down here.
I need to talk with this young man. Grab that chair. Come in and sit down, big fella.
No,
How
you
you
don't
doing?
have to. Since you're not a knucklehead,
No, he's not.
okay? No, because you have you have a great mom, great dad. They've done a great job with you.
What would your parents have done to you if they saw you do something like that?
And knowing you had to get in the end zone.
What would you do, Mom?
Thank you. See, she's not only beautiful, she's smart. She'd be saying, "Oh my God!" No, she'd say, "Oh my God, I gave birth to that." She said, "I gave birth to that." I could see my mother. God rest her soul. I could see if I did something like that. My mother would say, "That's it. I'm walking to the stadium right now." I'd come up the sideline with the ball. No, I'd come up the sideline with the ball. And say, "Mom," and it would not be the Cunningham commercial about the soup commercial. I'd say, "Mom, what are you doing here?" My mother would say, "You come talk to me." Now, she'd say, "Do you think I?"
I'm gonna have to get the
act
picture
like
out
that?"
again.
And
I'm gonna get the
the
picture
best
again.
part is, I love you because your mom. Now look at this. Look, okay. Now you want to break the picture
Again, we're having troubles with that.
No, that's right. Don't worry about
Why don't you hold the mic?
I don't-
Hold the mic. That's not the mic. That's the stand, Jimmy. The mic has a little fuzzy thing on the end.
it. I don't care.
There you
We're
go.
making the point,
Hold
okay?
hold the
We're
microphone.
talking about.
Yeah.
Show this, Jimmy.
I already
Show
did.
this,
I
okay?
showed it behind you for the last 5
Okay, good.
minutes.
Not a problem. Okay. You said he had to dive to get by.
Right.
To
Because-
get by. To
Yes.
Get by this guy. Okay,
Correct.
Right. All
Yes.
right. Look at the position his head's in.
I understand. At some point,
If he lands straight down, he breaks his neck.
I understand that.
Okay, now, we wouldn't even be talking about that. We'd be, oh my gosh, what a tragedy. Oh my goodness. I don't know what these young people are thinking of. Instead of saying, why don't we teach these people that
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't act like
He's
loony
just trying to
birds
get it in
when
the
you're
end
on a
zone.
football field.
All he's thinking is getting in the end zone. All right,
Excuse me.
enough.
Yeah,
We've-
thank
we've-
goodness you have a good mother.
Have we
You
done-
heard what she said? She said, oh my gosh.
Okay.
What would I do?
All right, we got that. Will you give? I want to know your impressions because it was a week ago tonight, before the Chiefs game, that we were here talking about what we thought was going to happen in the Chiefs game.
Right.
It didn't happen. Correct?
Correct.
All right. Here we are a week later, and are we forgetting about the Chiefs game? Are we moving right on? I mean, what were your impressions of the fact that the Patriots were able to come right back less than 7 days later and put up a performance like they did last night?
Hold on, Joe, before you answer. We're moving on to Buffalo. We're moving on to Buffalo. We're moving on to Buffalo. Just had to say that. Go ahead, Joe.
Are we moving on to Buffalo?
Yeah, I'm just giving you. We're moving on to Buffalo.
Well, what I saw, this is basically typical Patriots. They have a terrible game, but then they bounce back the next week. And the Bengals are a very impressive team, but not in prime time. The Bengals have never been good since Andy Dalton came in. And, no disrespect to the Bengals. They're a great team. Andy Dalton, a great quarterback.
Great talent.
Yes,
Not a great
great talent. Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. But I think we're starting to see the real Patriots. Like, I'm going to go with what you've been saying for a long time. Their preseason's finally over, and the regular season finally began. And who better to start than the Cincinnati Bengals? Tom Brady just had another great game that he's been doing for his whole career.
But let's look at the whole league.
No, wait, was it? Hang on. So was it? No, we're going back. No. I'm talking to Joe. I'm talking to Joe. We only have one mic. We're sharing.
Excuse me, where is it?
Okay.
Knucklehead. Okay, go ahead. Go.
The fact.
Now, when you act like one, that's what you're going to get.
The fact that
Paul,
they
we need
finally
you here.
settled on a starting 5 offensive line. They finally put their best veterans forward
For now.
with one rookie at
One
center.
game.
One game made all the difference in the world.
Oh, of course, the offensive line. Did you see how much time Brady was getting protection? I saw a little graphic on SportsCenter. He was getting like 2 to 3 seconds, where in the past 4 weeks he's had like a second and a half. So offensive line definitely improved. The run game had a big factor. Ridley getting over 100 yards and
Didn't fumble.
right. And we're finally starting to see the Patriots of old with the 2 tight end format in Gronkowski and Tim Wright. Tim Wright really, this was pretty much his breakout game.
There's a lot of knuckle in that head.
I mean, we still don't like the Logan Mankins.
Why don't you like the Logan Mankins?
Well, because Logan Mankins was basically the centerpiece of the offensive line.
But he had lost. Here's the thing. You're right, Joe. And in his prime, he was. I really think that they looked at his performance the last year, and he was getting beat on a fairly regular basis coming up.
No.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
No.
Yes, he was.
They wanted to get rid of him.
Which is
The
what they didn't.
coach,
That goes
management
with
player,
it, Jimmy.
They wanted to get rid of him. Jimmy, don't try to paint it.
I'm not going to paint it
They
anything.
felt
I'm not
they were
disagreeing
paying
with
him
you.
too much money, and it was time to cut him loose.
Because they
That's
didn't
how
think it was
they
worth
do
the
it.
money anymore because his skills had diminished.
And you wound up getting killed in a game because it took you that much time to adjust. Okay, you could say one game. I'm saying let's wait till they play down the road. Let's see how
Have you
this
seen the
solidified
schedule?
offensive line comes. They have Buffalo coming, right?
They got
then they have
Buffalo, big deal.
Miami coming, right? Is that
No.
am I right, Joe?
No. It's not Miami right after that.
But it's Buffalo, and
Yeah.
I know Miami's coming too. And these aren't really great teams. Jimmy, what I'm saying is this. Joe, think about this. Maybe you can answer him, and maybe he'll understand. Because apparently I'm
Yeah,
speaking
you
French.
hold the mic.
And yeah, you hold the mic. The entire league is not that good right now.
I said that.
49ers up and down. Seattle up and down. These are supposed to be the creme de la creme teams of the league. Nobody is playing great football right now.
Denver.
No, not
Yes.
even Denver because Denver. Think about this. Peyton Manning drives them down the field. This is how good my memory is. Peyton
hell
Manning
of a
drives
job.
them down the field against Seattle, Joe. He has a chance with 2 minutes to go, it's 2+ to go, to get them there. He throws an interception. Game's technically over. And fortunately, he was able to get bailed out, and they got the ball back, and they drive down the field, tie the game, and so forth. And then the defense, which is supposed to be good, they get grilled down the field in overtime. Kickoff, boom, dun, 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 dun. That's not great football to me. If we got this game tied, particularly after that great catch by Thomas, we're so fired up. We come out, look, I don't care what Russell and them. We've been watching it the whole game. We've watched these guys run the same plays the whole game. How are we going to let these guys march us down the field without one stop in overtime? They're not that good.
Okay.
Nobody's that good, Jimmy.
All right, so I'm going to tell you this as I look ahead here.
Okay, go ahead.
By the way, the Patriots always have troubles in Buffalo.
Yes.
They just always do.
Yes.
Even back
It's
to the
gonna be a tough
60s.
game. Tough
Absolutely.
game.
It's not going to be an easy win.
No.
They're going to win. Okay? The
Oh,
next,
you know this for sure.
Yes, I know that for sure.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay? I have it on
I'm just checking. I'm
Greatest-
just
Sorry,
checking.
I know. I feel
This is
good
why
about
I
it.
don't
They're
make
going
predictions because
to
I'm going
win.
to have to sit here and listen to this mess.
They're going
Go
to
ahead.
win because this town will freak if they lose again. Then, of course, they're playing the New
The
York
Jets?
Jets on a
Oh,
Thursday night. And I understand that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starting quarterback that night. Okay. I have that on good authority, too. As good authority as, what's his name, Mortensen has. All right. Chicago at home. Then they play Denver. You could say that they won't lose until they play Denver again. You could say that.
That's here, right?
It's a possibility.
That's here. That game is
Denver
here.
here.
Right? Denver here. Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
and
You
I
better feel
will-
lucky it's here.
I mean, I will agree with you, Jimmy. I mean, the Bengals were the last undefeated team to lose, and they were 3-0 coming off of a bye week. So the NFL is like, it's slowly declining when you had the Chiefs at 9-0, the Broncos were up there with one loss. I mean, you can see the NFL slowly getting down.
And Joe, they didn't even get there in the playoffs. The Chiefs were lousy by the time they got there. They
Right.
were lousy. And the truth be told, Denver basically had an easier walk to get to. By the time they played the Patriots in the AFC Championship, it was a given. They should win. It's on their field. Remember how they were jockeying back and forth the last couple of weeks for that game? We got to win this game. We have to get this game. We need the home field advantage. You flip that game to New England, it's a totally different game. It's a totally different game. So if it's a home field league, and even the home team doesn't play that well for me, then I got some problems. I'm trying to make people see that the parity of this league, I mean, I just don't see where this league is that great right now. I got to wait for another 4 to 5 weeks, Jimmy, before, like you said, out of exhibition.
Right.
I got to get to 8 games before I can
I'll
even
agree with
think
that.
about assessing
Right.
who can play and who can't. Tommy Jackson said it best 2 weeks ago. He said, there are 8 teams that have a chance to possibly make it to the Super Bowl. And he said, well, what about the other 24? No chance. And he was so adamant. And I've never heard Tom act like that. I said, wow, Tom Jackson stepping out on a limb. He said, the other ones, no chance.
Can we get a dribble cup for Mr. Myers, please? Sorry, dribble
Don't say
cup.
things like that. That's not funny.
It was funny.
It's not funny.
Was-
No, it's not. It's insulting. Don't go there. Continue.
I'm
don't
sorry
do
I
it.
insulted you.
Yes, well,
You-
don't
you
do it
spilled
again.
your iced tea.
Don't
You got
do it
so excited,
again.
you spilled.
Don't do it
I'll
again.
get a bib. Does that make you feel any better? I'll wear a bib. You take a dribble
Continue,
cup.
please. Let's move on. Thank you. Can I get some lemons here, too?
They have lemons right there.
No, they're used.
Oh, use lemons.
very much.
All right. Anyway, I lost my place. I have no idea where I'm going to go now. I want to ask Joe a question, though. From your perspective, 17-year-old.
God bless you.
Okay.
May you live
When
this
you
live a
wa-
long life.
And I know that you watch the media, you listen to sports talk radio, and you watch ESPN. I mean, you're into it, right? I do. What were your impressions of how the media and Belichick had such a horrible week? And do you point the finger at anybody? Do you see the arrogance in Bill Belichick? The media getting a bad rap because they're just doing their jobs? I mean, what's your opinion on what went on last week with the Patriots and the media?
Basically, with me, it's basically the media on its knees. They don't have another story, and the Patriots get blown out. Okay, they've been blown out in games in the past. It's like nothing's changed. So the media, it bothers me that the media just wants Belichick to give answers, and they're just going to have to deal with Belichick does not give long answers. He's the Greg Popovich of the NFL. Short-term answers.
Another very arrogant guy who is above himself sometimes. Because Greg,
Good analogy, though.
you. Hold on. Let
was
me
a good analogy.
remind you, Greg, when you
Positive
handed away a championship last year, you were very humbled. Now you wanted to talk. And people in that interview room were so hot when you kept Tim Duncan off that floor for the last 30 seconds and you had a championship in your grasp and all you needed was one rebound and you decided that you wanted to overcoach the situation. Sorry, Greg. And this whole thing about interviews with him, when he gives you 1 or 2 word answers,
Yep.
man, I'm telling you, we
Nope.
would make TV history.
Yep.
It would be so much fun because everybody in America would say, I want to see what Jimmy Myers is going to do. When he acts that way with Jimmy Myers, I want to see if Jimmy Myers takes that microphone and shoves it up his behind or whacks him over the top of the head with it and said, get a grip on yourself. You're just a basketball coach.
I love
That's all
YouTube.
you are. You're nothing more. You're not Albert Einstein. You didn't invent this game. It's the question whether Naismith invented it. But look, we're asking you a question. If you don't want to answer it, don't come do the interview. Don't do it. Just say, look, I'm going to pass on that. Because, see, he wouldn't come with Jimmy Myers. He'd be saying, I'm going to have to answer. Because first I'm going to try to ask you an intelligent question. I'm going to be thinking before it even comes to that. After the first quarter, instead of asking you, well, gee, what do you think you need to do? No. Gee, why is your defense so lousy in the first quarter? Well, we were just lousy. That's not good enough, Coach. I need a little bit more of an answer than that. Now, you start asking guys questions like that, and then he makes himself look like a fool. If you want to play this game, then we'll roll the dice, the fuzzy dice, and we'll play this to a higher level. See, because you're not going to act like that with an experienced journalist instead of somebody who's scared to death of you and worried that the NBA may fire them because they asked you a question, where very easily you can say, hey, Coach, if you want to act like this, where was your brilliant thinking when you took Tim Duncan off the floor? Tell me that. Nobody questioned him about that last year, Jimmy. Nobody did.
Okay. I'm going to send him back. He's going to have dinner now.
No, he didn't have to have dinner.
Go have dinner. Go eat your dinner. We'll see you later.
Dinner.
No. Go
ahead.
Just go have something to eat. I care about my kids. Thank you.
Your kids?
My kids. They're all my kids.
Okay.
If you can have 40 million godchildren, I can have kids that I work with. Isn't it all right?
Okay. Go.
I don't even know where to go. Here's what I'd like to talk about. I've got this here. Brady's 50,000 yards.
Mm-hmm. Milestone.
Manning, 500 touchdowns.
Okay.
Right? Didn't that happen yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Those two guys.
How'd they both act?
Oh, like they'd been there before.
Were they doing cartwheels?
In fact, I heard Brady
Did they
today.
dive in the air?
Did you hear what Brady said? Because the guys asked him, what do you do with the football? He goes, I don't know. I gave it to Julian, and he spiked it, and I don't know what the heck happened to it after that.
And what about Manning? What's going to... You
know what he said? You know what he said?
The best answer was, the receivers always take those balls. So I never get a chance to see them. Wait a minute.
never see the
you're
football.
100. He says Marvin Harrison.
Yep.
He's got about 100 of them. So
Right.
he says, I know I'm not seeing any of those balls. And I'm saying to myself, now here's a guy with all these milestones. It's not about that. He doesn't care about the ball. Look, did we get in the end zone? My job is to get us in the end zone. Did we get in there? Okay, good. You keep the ball. Keep the ball. I can go out and buy, believe me, the Peyton Manning salary, he can buy part of the factory that makes the footballs if he wants to. And just say, look, this was my 100th ball. I'm going to just sign this as my 100th.
And
Marvin, give me that one. I'll give you this one back. You trade balls, please.
Now, Jimmy, that the rules have changed in the National Football League over the last 10 to 15, 20 years.
Drastically. Go ahead.
Okay. So when you look at the statistics of a Manning, even a Brady, they're jaded a tad because they were in the modern era. When you look at what Unitas did or what, help me out, give me somebody else.
Bart Starr.
Thank you, Bart. By
Unitas.
the way,
Otto Graham.
Bart
You're
Starr's
talking about
having some health issues.
Sid
We wanna
Luckman.
make
You're talking
sure
about some
thinking
great
about him.
quarterbacks.
Yes.
And you're talking about a totally different game. You're talking about when guys were allowed to necktie tackle. That was part of the game, Jimmy. Right. Dick Night Train Lane made a career of necktie tackling guys. The stuff
Clotheslines.
that he did, clotheslines. Yeah, well, necktie, the same thing.
Clothesline is not like a necktie.
Okay, clothesline. God, help me, Lord. I'm going to be as patient with you. We got a little bit more time to go before you're going to have to get one. But anyway, remember, we're on YouTube. This will be there forever.
Yeah, I
so
know.
try to remember that.
That's good.
Clothesline, necktie, whatever you want to call it. Clothesline tackling. These things weren't allowed.
Clothesline me.
These things were not allowed. They're not allowed today. The cushion that receivers have, please, if you gave the older guys the same type of rules, could you imagine where the numbers would be? If you gave Lance Allworth, just one example,
right.
Just give Lance Allworth
Lynn Swann.
the freedom. No, forget
Jerry Rice.
I'm just saying, well, remember now, we're talking about the elite now. You're talking about Hall of Fame guys.
Right.
You're talking about guys that they'd have like, let me see, 300 touchdowns, 25,000 yards receiving.
That's the point.
I mean, these guys would put up numbers like pinball numbers.
Right.
And it's the same. And today, that's why I tell you when I hear about Calvin Johnson, A.J. Green, these guys, they don't play the same game. And does that mean that I'm going to take away from what Manning and them are doing? No, but I'm going to look at it with a skeptical eye. But I'm going to look at the rules. They're just playing within the rules, Jimmy. They didn't change the rules of anything. Tom
No,
Brady
right, I
didn't change
understand.
the
They're
rules.
only doing what
but
they're told,
I'm
right? I
gonna
get
do
you.
what I'm going to do what the rules allow me to do.
Right. All right. That's good. I was going to go through the NFL the whole year, the whole week, but there wasn't really anything besides.
Who cares?
Yeah, there wasn't really
Who's gonna
anything
care?
in there.
All the people in this area care about, ladies and gentlemen,
Patriots.
is that the Patriots won.
That's
You're
right.
happy. You're on cloud nine. Enjoy it. Go do whatever you do to celebrate and be happy. Because now we go to Buffalo. Oh, excuse me. I got to say it right.
On to Buffalo.
On to Buffalo.
On to Buffalo.
On
Okay,
Buffalo.
before we do say move on from the Patriots, although I don't think we will because we'll probably come back to them. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's one of the reasons why you saw all the pink towels, the pink gloves, the pink shoes.
I commend you.
And
You're
I
wearing pink.
happened to find this in my closet, so I said, you know what? I'm going to wave the flag because I
Forgive
thought
me.
what the Patriots
Is
did
there
yesterday.
pink in here? I'm trying to see.
There is.
Yes, there is. Go
Sure
ahead.
there is.
Go
Sure
ahead.
there is. If you see pink, you'll be pink. There is, right in that tie. I see. There's a little pink right there.
Yes, thank you.
So as anybody who's followed the Patriots or football over the last 48 hours knows that there's a Bengals defensive lineman named Devon Still, whose daughter Leia is been stricken with cancer, and it has been a difficult time because Still wasn't sure he's going to make the team. The Bengals kept him on the team to make sure that he kept his health benefits. Anyway, bottom line on this, that was a salute at the game last night. It was one of the most emotional things that anybody's seen at Foxborough and at the Gillette Stadium all year when the cheerleaders of the Patriots came out with the number 75 for Still.
Jerseys.
And they showed a beautiful video. And you know what? We talked about this when Dan Leibowitz is here, how sport really can bring attention to real-world issues. And there you go again, watching football players wearing pink and bringing attention to a horrible disease that can be prevented with just basic examination, early examination.
Yep.
And it's amazing, by the way, that we can talk about this now, that you can see the results of it now. What was once a death sentence for 30, 40 years ago, people live with this disease. In fact, my dad is 90 years old, and he's had cancer for over 40 years. And he's sharp as a tack, and he still bitches about the Red Sox, and who wouldn't? And it's just an amazing thing. So I just thought we would throw that in there because as much as crap as Robert Kraft gets and the whole team gets, I think when they get it right, they need to get it right. Because in this town, when you get it wrong, boy, do you hear about it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to? Can I expound on that now?
You can expound all you
The
want.
one thing I didn't like
Go ahead.
about it, because there is and I've known about this situation with this child for a while. You always worry about the situations of this magnitude where exploitation comes in. This child is put all over the place to a degree, and some people don't like that. Me, I don't have that much of a problem with it. She's a beautiful little girl. I watched this in training camp. I know how close he is to his child, and any parent that's going through this, you're scared to death.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is your baby.
Yep.
This is your child. This is the life that you helped to create. And when you look at her and all the video of her in the back seat and she's doing a little thing, you realize how precious that life really is. I commend what people want to do. My biggest problem is still the same as it's always been. Why do you have to advertise it? When the game is on, I'm hearing, well, Bob Kraft, they're going to give $25,000. That's not the public's business. If you want to do that, go do it. You don't have to advertise it. And it's one of the reasons why people don't like Bob Kraft, because they say every time he wants to give $1, he wants a television camera there to show you that he's giving
I don't think
$1.
it's every time.
Well, just about every time, Jimmy.
Okay, but I don't think it is every time.
Here's a guy that I'm saying you could have done this classy, just like you did,
I
and
think it
just
was classy.
leave the donation part out. The Patriots are going to make a donation to pediatric cancer. My gosh, you should have been making it anyway. With all the money that you're making,
Yes.
breast cancer, pediatric cancer, you want to
they
start
are
giving
big
give money,
benefactors in
and
this
don't
area.
wait for this little girl to all of a sudden make yourself say, well, we're doing this for this reason. No, because you're missing the point. You should be doing this all along. The league should be doing this.
But that's why they're wearing pink. They are bringing attention to it. That's the whole point here.
Yeah, and it's still a league that we still have the violence aspect, the domestic violence aspect, and all of a sudden you want to try to shift away from that all of a sudden and put this little girl front and center, and that is a form of exploitation to a degree. Leah, I pray for you every day that you're going to make it through this. And if you are to leave this world, your parents are going to be devastated. The people that know you are going to be devastated. But I was watching, NBC, one of the network shows today. I think it was NBC, the morning show, and they had the whole story on. And the anchor women were crying and so forth and so forth. Look, what about all the other kids in this world that are suffering from this same disease? What about them? Their fathers don't play in the NFL. You're not going to see their faces. I visit hospitals. I see this every day. And it's the hardest, toughest thing to deal with when you're talking about losing a child. Nothing is tougher than that for a parent. So what I'm saying is, bravo, I'm glad you're doing something. But please, don't even move it close to exploitation to me. Do it quietly, do it with dignity, and move on.
So you just don't want the attention. You like the act, but you don't want the attention. That's what you're saying.
I'm just saying for me.
Do you think he did it because it was attention, Jimmy?
No, I'm not saying he did, but I'm telling you how it comes across, Jimmy. It's not what we do. Listen to me. Derek Jeter gives money. Yep. Lots of athletes give money. I know guys that have given millions. You never see one time where you read this. Let me tell you something. I met Frank Sinatra when I was very young, and I don't think any entertainer that I've ever met had as much of an impact on me as he did. And when I found out about his charitable gifts after he was dead, I couldn't believe it. I said, he gave what to Israel? He gave what to this country? He gave what to this? This guy was giving away so much money, it was incredible. Yet at the same time, Frank Sinatra's mantra was, and just about everybody that knows him will tell you, you cannot put my name to it. You cannot seek any publicity from me for it. I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do. My father loved this guy. My mother loved this guy. When I told him I had met him, my parents were like, wow. I said, he's exactly like you think he is on stage. He's that good of a person. And for all the years, he would just deflect it. And all I'm saying is maybe it's time for Kraft to think, let's do a little deflecting. Let's just do it right, and then if somebody else finds it out later, great. But no. But there was something else that happened last night. I want to ask you a question as a journalist.
Yeah.
Because in that game, they did a shot of the booth. Every week we see, what Bob Kraft's wearing. Every single week, which I really don't need to see Bob Kraft because he's not covering a punt. He's not covering a kickoff. He's just the owner. But okay. But if you people want to live with that, fine. But here's the deal. I hear Al Michaels, who is supposed to be one of the most respected broadcasters in the business, say he's sitting up there with our boss. Why is his boss sitting in the owner's booth?
You know the answer to that. You don't need me.
It doesn't make a difference because if I'm the Cincinnati owner, I'm saying, yeah. Why is he sitting up there talking to Kraft? Why?
How do you know that Dennis Burke, right? How do you know that he didn't hang out?
No, I don't think it was Burke. Whoever it was.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Maybe it wasn't Dennis Burke.
You saw the two of them sitting there talking. I don't need the president of a network sitting there talking to an owner.
Why?
While a game
they do
is
billions of dollars of business together.
While a game is going on.
Well, what does that have to do with the game?
Turns the wrong message.
What is the
You're
what
supposed to
message?
be clear and objective.
Who is?
Okay.
Who is?
He is.
Who's
for one
he?
reason. The exec. The reason being is that the league is paying you.
The network doesn't. Why does the network care? The network only cares about all the people watching. They don't care about the result. They don't care about the result. They want as many people watching as possible.
So we'll disagree again. I'm saying if the president of the network is sitting there, it doesn't paint the right picture to me. You understand?
Okay,
his job is
you.
to be the president of the network.
And what
it's not
job
to be
do you
sitting
want
there
what is his
smoothing.
job?
To keep his butt in his office. Do what you're supposed to be
He
doing.
likes football. He wants to go to the game.
But not sitting in the booth of one owner while the other owner's sitting in the other. No, Jimmy, that's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. You can say what you want.
I think you need to explain it to me because I don't get it. What do you mean it's wrong? He's a fan of the game.
Excuse me.
He wants to watch the game.
Hold on.
Bob Kraft owns the stadium.
That's the first time. That's the first time you didn't get something.
No.
They have an owner's booth. He can go sit somewhere else. Why does he have to be sitting there?
Because he knows Bob Kraft.
Wonderful. Then it projects an image of something that's not right with me. I don't need a network exec sitting there talking to the owner of one team.
What?
Just because he's in his stadium, Jimmy.
Okay,
I
wait.
don't buy
Hang a
that.
second.
I don't
If
buy
he
it.
was in New York or if he was
It
in
wouldn't
Buffalo,
make a difference where he was. He's not supposed to be there.
Why?
He's
Where
supposed
does
to
that
be
say that?
objective. He's supposed to be objective.
He's a
His
network
job
president.
Is
What-
a network.
He's not a
they don't-
journalist. He's not a journalist. He's a businessman.
To me, ladies and gentlemen, it was wrong. He does not belong there. Now you can argue all you want.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
no. We have to go back and forth. It's going to be an
Go
argument.
ahead. No, because you're talking to yourself. Because I'm telling you what I'm looking at, and I'm telling you that it looks like, well, why is he sitting in that booth? Why would he have to be there? I'm not interested in him, and I'm definitely not interested in Bob Kraft. One, the camera shouldn't be showing up there. It's almost like, okay, let's advertise ourselves. We're sitting here. Here's the owner, and I'm the network guy. I'm his buddy, and we're just sitting here and we're talking while the game's going on.
How much
If
money
I was
do you
the
have on you?
if I was the Cincinnati owner, I'd say, wait a minute.
Isn't that Mike Brown?
That never happens. That never happens in my stadium. And then now he's got to go over there and do it. No. I
So-
disagree.
But where is the impropriety here? I just don't get it.
Jimmy,
Explain
the
it to me.
network makes money off of the game. It doesn't make money off of one of their executives sitting and talking to Bob Kraft while the game is going on. And we have to shoot a camera shot up there to see that. No, I don't need to know he's up there. I don't.
Then don't look.
Okay.
I don't think it's that big a deal.
Okay, well.
I really don't.
It's obvious that we both think on a different plane, because if I was the Cincinnati ownership, I'd be saying,
What-
okay, first thing first, we're getting our butts kicked, and they're sitting up there in the booth, and he's sitting there with him. Yeah, I don't like that.
So that's
I don't like that.
NBC is sitting there.
Well,
The president.
once again, we're talking about networks, so let's not, my feelings about networks. I worked for NBC, so
Okay.
please.
And
Whatever.
point being, again, he's an executive, and he's at the game, and he's hanging out with a guy that they negotiate billions of dollars of rights deals. Bob Kraft is on that television committee. They obviously have some kind of a relationship.
Oh, so that's the deal. So because we're negotiating, I need to have people see me with you.
I don't think that's
need
why
to
the
see
director
people
shot him.
Seeing me smoozing
Wait,
with you.
do you think that the director or producer of the game was told to take a shot of him in the box with Bob Kraft?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it. Yeah, show him up there. Because what's the reason for seeing Bob Kraft, period? He doesn't do anything but own the team, Jimmy. What does he do?
He writes the checks.
Yeah, okay.
And that's pretty big, actually. I think.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think the guy
I watched
who
the
writes
whole
your
Giants
paycheck
game
is
yesterday,
pretty
ladies and
important.
gentlemen. I watched the whole Giants game. I didn't see the picture of the Maras up there. Didn't see it. I watched a couple other games. Didn't see it. Why is it every time that network comes here or whatever, we have to see Bob Kraft, and now we're seeing Bob Kraft
Okay.
with
Who's playing
with
tonight? Wait, hold
talking
slap.
whatever.
Washington, Seattle. Is it at Washington? It's at Washington, right? So Dan Snyder's the owner of the Washington football team. We're not going to name the name.
And if the same network official is sitting in his booth, drinking, eating,
this wouldn't be
whatever,
NBC.
I'm going
This would
to
be
have a problem.
ESPN.
Yeah, okay. If the ABC executive is sitting up there, I'm going to say, no.
Why?
Because you're supposed to be portraying an image of we don't care who wins. So we're not going to sit on this side, and we're not going to sit on this side.
But there are
My
fans
place
of
is
both
not
teams on both
up there.
sides now.
I'm not up there. No.
I don't think
No.
so. I think it's a point that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think you're being blown out of proportion. But that is your right to do that. You can do that. I have no problem with you
Let's
doing
move
that.
on. I want to hear this. Let's move on. I want to hear this. What's the next thing?
I don't know. I got a lot of things.
Do
We haven't
we have
talked to
an update
any
on the game?
baseball at all.
Do we have the update on the game?
Yeah. Does anybody know what the score is? Because we can't see.
Who?
4-0. Come on, Jamie. Don't play games. Not San Francisco.
Oh, we may have a series after all.
Be
Okay,
nice
this is
if we-
good.
I'd
Okay.
love it
They
to
got
go
the
5
Baumgart.
games.
The Nationals got. Oh, I call them Nationals.
Bottom of the
because
ninth? Thank you, Joe.
I call them
You'd
Nationals
lost without him.
only for the
I'd be
reason
lost without him.
that that's was on their uniforms. Nationals one time.
Nationals.
I can't get over that. I still can't. Somebody for the team spelled it wrong on all the uniforms. The Nationals. So the Nationals, I'm happy for them. That means it extends the series another game. That's not good for me because it means more work tomorrow, but we'll deal with that later. But all right, if it's 4-0, then you figure out what this means for tomorrow, because now I believe Jake Peavy has to come back.
Yeah.
He'll come back. And wait a minute, hold on. If they win tomorrow, then you have both teams winning on the other team's field, and this will go back to Washington for Game 5. Now, there have been a couple of times in this playoff scenario. I remember the Yankees did it to Oakland, where they've lost the first 2 games on your field, and the Red Sox too, and you come back and win the next 3. So this thing is not out of, because you got to figure that San Francisco had to think in their minds, look, we got Baumgartner going. We're shutting the door today. We're ending this, and we're headed on to the next round. But I think the biggest game is tonight in St. Louis.
The Dodgers.
With Ryu against John Lackey.
Can you imagine that?
John
Lackey's playing, still pitching big.
Another big game.
Yeah, he's
for
there.
A big game pitcher. This guy's been a big game pitcher, Jimmy.
I know.
And for the time that he fell on his face when he first got here, because he needed arm surgery, which they didn't give him until
it fell off.
Till it fell off, which was wrong. But he still came back and still was able to get them a world championship. Do you realize that this team is to go on and win? That'll be 3 rings this guy has. That'll be 3 rings. I mean, you're getting in that rarefied air where you're with 3 different teams.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. John Lackey, and I don't know if he's that good a pitcher.
He's
not. I know in a big game.
He's a bulldog. You know what?
In a big game, they want him out there. And this is the reason why St. Louis made the deal to get him for this game tomorrow.
Oakland did the same thing with John Lester. How'd that work out for them?
Not too good.
Yeah. I felt bad for him.
And Detroit did the same thing with Price.
Right.
And it didn't work out there either.
And by the way, these are the guys that are making $25 to $30 million a year to pitch baseball games.
I don't know if Price is making that kind of money
but the highest level of pitching. You know, they're getting Kershaw makes $30 million a year. He's the best pitcher in baseball. I think we can all agree with that.
Okay. And he got rocked.
Where's the commissioner in baseball? Oh, I'm only kidding. Okay. Do you have a problem with the commissioner too?
Yes, I do. But
okay.
But we're
so
not
wait, hang on a second. So if the commissioner is hanging out with the hometown owner, that's no good either, right?
No, not to me.
All right, that's all right.
Not to me.
Okay. All right.
I've been a commissioner. I don't want to sit with anybody. Just be the commissioner. Stay away.
All right,
do your job.
Let's go back.
What if it comes down to I have to discipline these guys? Then all that niceness goes out the window.
Jimmy Myers was commissioner of the Adult Basketball League.
John D. O'Brien
League in Boston. How many years?
18.
18 years. So, you have some experience in that, right?
And the week-to-week drama was incredible. Yet we survived until some people decided that they felt that they wanted to take something they didn't build.
Right.
Another story for another time.
All right. So
not important.
I know the question I want to ask.
Go ahead.
Okay. And the question I want to ask, and again, there's a car wash gift certificate up for grabs if anybody hears us and knows the answer to this question.
I'm getting my car washed.
You gotta
Go
help.
ahead.
All right. So Tom Brady joined 5 other quarterbacks with 50,000 yards in the National Football League.
Okay.
50,000 yards.
A lot of distance.
Okay. How many of those 5 can you name?
Okay.
Go ahead, give me some.
Okay. Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, yep.
He's obvious.
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, yep.
Drew Brees. Drew Brees, you sure?
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. John Elway. I think he got them all.
He might have.
I'm not gonna doubt him.
He doesn't even have a car. Why are we giving him the car wash? He can't even drive.
The mom and dad are here. They want a car wash. He wants a car wash, okay?
And not only that, remember, he doesn't get to borrow the car. It's as simple as that.
That's
After you get it cleaned up, gee, I want it, Dad. I want it. No. You're not getting the car, Joe. Sorry. You can do the inside. Exactly, Joe. Go do the inside. But you're not driving the car. Simple as that.
And as you know, this is for Scrub It Up Car Wash, my favorite car wash, with 17 locations around New England, okay? And if you paid $25 a month, you could have your car washed every single day of the month. And the first time you sign up for this deal every month, it's $15.
I'll never have a dirty car again.
Never have a dirty car again.
Man, this is unbelievable.
And you can always basically threaten your kid that he has to do the interior Or if you want this car, you must clean the interior.
That's Dad Braverman,
Okay?
man. I like that. You want the car, you have to do the interior.
If
And when
you
your
want the
crazy
car.
friends get out of it, there better not be any Doritos chips in the back of the car. There better not be any mess on the floor. I want the car clean. If you want the car, you have to clean the car. I like that.
And if you pick up any nickels, dimes, or quarters,
They come back to us.
that's right.
That's right. Parenting is
So,
a
Joe,
wonderful thing.
Come on up here, Joe. Get yourself a car wash. Thank you very much. It's good. There you go. Joe Braverman. What?
All right. Here, take it. Take
All
it.
right. Thank you, Joe. How was your burger? Outstanding.
50,000 yards. That's a lot of yardage.
That's a lot of yards.
That's a lot of yards.
And I
because
think- but
by the time Peyton Manning's finished, he should pass Brett Favre 70,000 if I'm right. Brett Favre's close to
Ridiculous.
That's just ridiculous. I
That
mean,
is
you
too
think
much.
of that kind of yardage. That's miles and miles and miles and more miles.
And if
of throwing
Johnny
the football.
Unitas was a modern day
Man.
quarterback,
It'd be 100,000 yards. It'd be 100,000 yards. He'd be
'Cause
the
he
first
could
guy to hit the
fling the
100,000.
ball.
Oh my
He
goodness.
could fling
But
the ball.
Jimmy, think about this. You had a guy who played in his contemporary, and I'll get a little historical here just for a second. Sonny Jurgensen could throw the ball with anybody. Norm Van Brocklin. These guys threw the football. And this is when the game was really starting to open up. Johnny was the man because of 58, 59, back-to-back championships, and the greatest game that was ever played in 58, the overtime game. Y.A. Tittle. You're talking about some legendary guys. If they got to throw with these rules, Jimmy, Tittle to Del Schaffner, oh my goodness. They would be mentioning that combination with all, okay, John Hadle,
John
the
Hale.
Lance Allworth.
Hey,
I'm
Dan
talking
Fouts
about-
threw a few
Oh my goodness, Dan Fouts.
under Air Coryell.
I'm just saying these are guys that racked up miles of yardage, and they didn't have the relaxed rules that they have now, Jimmy. They didn't get a chance to do all the stuff that's done now. I mean, the cushion. I mean, you can't touch the receiver after 5 yards. In their day, man, you could be remember bump and run.
Oh, bump and run.
Oh man, you be bumping a guy 50 yards down the field. Bam, bam. What do you say?
Try and catch the ball now.
He's
Try and catch the
never
ball
gonna
now.
Remember, bump him out of bounds. If he ran out and up, you
By the way,
push him out of bounds.
That's what Rivas did so well, I thought,
Yeah.
last night on A.J. Green, using the sideline as an extra defender, and it just kept taking him off the
Rivas
play.
can do this, and I think he's probably only going to be here 1 year because the Patriots aren't going to want to pay him next year. So you're gambling that you can go as far as you can go with a shutdown corner. He did his job last night. Yet at the same time, from last week to this week, he was under the gun because there was much criticism of how he played in Kansas City. Didn't shut down anybody. Bo killed him or whatever, and the wide receiver from Kansas City. And no, he didn't. Dwayne Bo didn't kill him. It was just that it was a complete breakdown. So now we have a complete build-up. Let's see where we go from here. On to Buffalo.
On to Buffalo. Absolutely, on to Buffalo. And tonight,
Oh.
Washington Redskins. Is it going to be, I almost said the word. What is your feeling, by the way, about that? Will we ever see the Redskins name taken away from the Washington football team? There's never been more.
That's good. That's a good point. That's
Will
that's a
we
good
ever
question.
see it? We both don't like it, right? We both don't like it.
No,
It's horrible.
No, there are a lot of people that don't like it. There
And
are
you know
many
wh- and you know where it
people- there are
started,
many
right?
people
They were the
in-
Boston Redskins.
There are many people in the Native American community that don't like it. A lot of money is invested in this. Money has been given to more or less silence some of those groups in regards to this name. It is offensive. We all know that. We live in a politically different world today than we did back in the day when George Preston Marshall, I believe, was the owner of the Redskins back at that time. And remember, this is the same Redskin team that was the last team in the National Football League to have a player of color. And I believe Bobby Mitchell wound up going there and having a great career. Charlie Taylor was one of their greatest players. But
And Doug Williams was the first black quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep, to win it too.
Right.
And,
So-
but remember, Marshall was gone, was long
Right.
gone by that time.
So,
but at the same time, it shows you where the NFL falls short in regards to
They do-
not listening to the cry of the public. The entire public is saying this. They're saying this has to stop. We don't even call them. We call them Washington. We always say Washington.
Washington
the
football
Washington
team.
franchise.
And a lot of people are doing that now in the media.
And, the more arrogance that's put to this by Dan Snyder.
Yep.
Dan Snyder's the first one to tell you, hey, wait a minute, hold on. We're giving a lot of money to the Native American community. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're doing this.
Why
we're
is
doing
he
that.
calling them Washington Native Americans?
Wait a minute. That's what he's doing. But I'm saying at the same time, that's the same type of thinking of Americans that say, what are the surviving Native Americans upset about? We gave them casinos.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's what a lot of people in this country are saying, which is totally ridiculous.
You can't put a dollar figure on respect.
But what I'm saying is the word Redskins.
Right. It's
I
horrible.
mean,
Ugh.
if there
in
was
the
a
nation's
team,
capital of the United States.
Exactly.
Okay?
If there were a team that were called the Blackskins,
not happening. Just not happening.
I could see the furor now. Yet at the same time, I'm looking at the picture and I'm saying to myself, why doesn't Dan Snyder step up himself and say,
Right, this is a great opportunity for him to do the right thing.
It's time for me
That's right.
to change this.
Right, instead of being a baby.
I've taken the wrong stand. It's wrong. I need to fix this right now.
Yep.
I mean, if you had a team, God forbid, they called the Gay Birds or whatever.
Right.
Could you imagine
No.
the heat from the homosexual
Right.
and gay and lesbian community over something like that? But the Native American community is a much smaller community. And even though they have
kill them all.
screamed long and loud about this, it's fallen on deaf ears. The reason being is, think of the following. Even when Stanford was called the Stanford Indians,
That's right.
they changed it. The people out west on the left coast, I guess they're a little bit more progressive thinking than we
Planet
are.
California.
They changed it. Yet at the same time, those nice people down at Florida State still run around having someone ride out to the center of the field with a flaming spear and throw a flaming spear into the ground. And you tell me something's not right? Something is right? I mean, something is not wrong with my country? And you tell me that this is going on, as you mentioned, in Washington, D.C., with a black president in office. Yeah, we have a lot of growing to do. We have a whole lot of growing to do. Because that issue alone, it's one of those issues we talk about, Jimmy. The NFL is so many shots coming at them, and this is not a hard one to do. Hey, look, we're going to change this now. Boom. We all sit there and we say, look, Dan, if we were all owners, Dan, we got to have a talk, man.
Right.
This
Well,
is embarrassing.
And now the government with the FCC is getting involved with this, and the Copyright Commission is getting involved with this. And at this point, if Snyder's smart, he meets with some smart people and figures out the way to somehow get out of it and appease the traditionalists, the traditional racists, if you will. And
because there's still going to be people that are going to be wearing the Redskins uniforms.
that's my point. I get it.
They're that
Absolutely.
crazy. They're still going to be wearing those
Right.
uniforms around.
And
But
of course,
at
they're going to
the
have a
same
throwback
time-
weekend once in a while.
Exactly. At
But
the same time,
why not the Americans?
That's
why
bad.
not call them the Americans?
Why
you got
not?
the Nationals,
why not?
right?
Why not? It's America. I
It's
mean,
the
you're in the
Americans.
nation's capital.
That's right.
Why not? You can call them the Well, you can't call them the Capitals because the hockey team has
Hockey
that
team,
name.
that's right.
But like you said, the Americans. Why
Yeah,
not?
the Federals, something.
Something
I
other
mean-
than Redskins.
Right.
But Jimmy, as I look at
Is
this,
it going to happen?
I don't know. I can honestly say that I don't know because I know where the pressure's coming from, but I know the sheer arrogance of the people that can make that decision. I remember when Dan Snyder bought the team. I was one of the people, I got a chance to interview him and so forth. I didn't see it then. So, I mean, and he's been a failure as an owner. What have they done, Jimmy?
Nothing.
What have they done under Dan
Nothing.
Snyder's watch?
They actually
you
made
wanna
a joke
hold
of
on
the
to a
football team.
name? That's what you wanna hold
A
on to?
great tradition.
A great football tradition, a
Right.
great talent. The people down there, they live and die Redskins, Jimmy.
Yep.
They live for this team. Now that Griffin is injured, and now we found out that Kirk Cousins is not necessarily the cure-all end-all quarterback.
No, he's a backup quarterback.
He's back, exactly. Now we have
Jimmy
some
Garoppolo.
major problems that they're going to try to have to figure out what we're going to do. A win against Seattle tonight would be monumental.
Absolutely.
But
Not
is
going to
it
happen.
Going to happen?
No.
Don't know.
No.
Okay, you always talk about lines. I don't know what the line of that game is.
Doesn't matter. I guarantee you, Seattle's favored. What do you think? I'm going on a limb
The
there?
Legion of Boom will come in there, and they'll try to say, look, let's leave Washington in shambles. Let's
That's right.
leave them with their feathers on the field or whatever. But, I don't know, Jimmy. It's so many things that we look at and we try to get a gauge of them. This one I just can't get a gauge of because I'm just asking myself, why so long? Why would this take this long? It makes no sense.
Makes no sense. A lot of things in sport make no sense, including the sign that's been behind us the entire night.
Oh, I knew you were going.
I had to mention it.
Go ahead.
It's the Man Cave. It comes from the studio of YBA back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Phil Castanetti from Sports World donated that to me, and I just want it has no New York fans allowed. Now Jimmy got very offended by this because he has friends who are New York fans. And by the way, I have friends who are New York fans too.
No,
It's
I have a lot
joke,
of people that
okay?
I know in New York that watch this program. They're going to say, "Why is that sitting there?"
They watch this program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway,
I make calls all the time.
more
about people
importantly,
going,
I cut out the
Revolution
Revolution
and
logo
stuck it on.
and stuck it on there because that team's having a heck of a year.
they're having a good year.
And I'm close to picking up the phone and calling my old friend Mike Burns, who's the president of the team, and seeing if he wants to come out some Friday night because I remember when Mike made the U.S. national team in 1994.
That's going back.
And that was the beginning of the origin, if you will, of Major League Soccer in this country. And
No. Major League Soccer was here long before that.
No, it wasn't, Jimmy.
No, the different leagues I'm talking about.
Correct.
It was
That's different. It was the
professional soccer, but not
National
Major League
North
Soccer.
American
Okay.
Soccer League, the
Right,
American Soccer League.
Yep.
I know all of those,
Yes.
believe it or not.
I covered them.
Yes, and I actually played for a junior team once when I had two hips
Yes.
and some speed, let's just say. Okay. But that was a long time ago. We're gonna kind of go in the home stretch here. There's one more comment.
Was
one
that
more
your
comment.
fantasy? Okay, good.
Yes, it was to play pro soccer.
I hear you.
Absolutely, man. Come on.
Go ahead.
First of all, I felt Americans weren't very good, so all I had to do was outwork people, and then I would have a shot at it.
Well, my dream, I have a lot of dreams. Play second base for the Dodgers.
Right.
A bunch of,
There you go.
Play wide receiver for
That
the
didn't happen?
Packers or whatever.
Didn't
No,
happen?
none of it.
Didn't happen?
But I did play. I did play some professional
Did you ever-
basketball. That's
did-
good enough for me.
I was gonna say,
Go
did you
ahead.
ever dream to be 7 feet tall?
No.
Me neither.
Too big. Because if you're that tall, then you better be
Wait,
good.
wait.
Or else you're going to get crucified. I just like to be out there.
Thank
be
you
able
so
to say I'm
much.
that
Ooh,
small.
same
and
straw.
I'm
That's
competing
very
against
important.
the-
Thank
you are
you.
doing a marvelous job.
She is.
Absolutely.
And you
positively
look marvelous.
You
May
are
I
doing
just
a
say that you
great
look marvelous.
job.
Okay.
Great job. Now, you just saw her hand stick in here and slip out.
That's
See,
right.
that's a pro. She says, get it in there and get
That's
out.
right.
And if you notice, I haven't spilled this glass.
No,
So
you
this
have
glass
not.
is
It's
good
safe.
shape.
It's
I
safe.
still need lemons, but let it go. We're just about done. No,
So
no, we're
just
about done.
because
Make
we're
this
wrapping
final
it. One more point, and it has to do with the Boston Bruins who face off this week. They open up. I just thought I'd throw it out there. I have never
I wanted
heard.
to start the show with the
I
Bruins.
have.
You said
Tom
no.
Kelly wasn't here. There's no reason to talk about the Bruins. By the way, he was the only one who picked the Chiefs last Monday. I just
he
want to
sure
say,
was. Yep.
TK, if you're out there, we respect you. Okay, so this is the first time that, and I've been watching sports and covering sports for a long time, Jimmy. I've never heard a general manager of a professional team. Check this out. Oh, see, if we had the camera, we would have got that. All right, here you go. Never heard of a general manager of a professional team admit that after making a trade,
The boy check trade?
the Boychuk trade,
Okay.
that his team is not going to be as good now because of this trade.
That one stunned me.
I gotta
did.
tell you.
I sat there and I
I was
said, wait a
like,
minute.
really?
What?
No spin.
What is that Chiarelli? What is
Yeah,
he talking
Peter
about?
Chiarelli.
I said, Pete, what are you doing?
He says it'll make us better.
It'll make us
down
better
the road.
down the road. No. These fans want to win now. They don't want to hear down the road. They want to think, look, a couple of years ago, we were right there. Year before, 2 years ago, we were in the finals, 18 seconds, 17 seconds. No, you do not trade Boychuk. No, Jimmy, it goes back to that thing about money or whatever. I don't
It's
get
money.
this one. This one, no, because I said to myself, first you're weakening your defense, which means, and that's the most important line in the game today.
Oh, goalie and defense.
Goalie and defense, exactly. But no, even defense more than goalie sometimes, because you can get by with an average, with above average goalie. But the Kings won because they had superior defensive players in front of Quick. They were good in front of him. Blake and those guys,
Yeah,
Brown,
yeah.
nothing got
But
near
he,
them.
and he thinks, and Chiarelli thinks his young defenders are going to mature enough to make up for the loss of Johnny Boychuk.
No.
Well, here's how we're going to know. We'll see how long they last in the playoffs because
Yeah.
the Bruins will make the playoffs.
Yep. But that's what it's all about.
And then you have
Remember.
to play the system. They buy into the system. It's not dissimilar to what's going on in Foxborough. They all buy into the system to the
Okay.
point where sometimes it blinds you
Okay.
to making the right move.
Well, they better look out for the Canadians. They better find a way
I
to.
hate
They
the
better
Canadians.
find a way to beat them
I really hate
because
the Canadians.
they're not They're not
is a
just good.
strong
They're
word.
getting better. Each year, their progression is coming. Now, you take away the hit from Kreider on Price last year, and you might have had the Canadians in the finals. And once they start getting there again, this franchise has a history behind them that's scary, that they'll know how to win them once they start winning them. And, Boychuk, I don't understand that one, Jimmy. I still don't understand it. Let's see what it
We'll see where it
that's
goes.
Like you said, let's see where it goes.
Let's see where it goes. Because you know what? I know that Peter Chiarelli knows more about hockey than I do.
Yeah, well,
he just does.
he better.
He better is right.
He better.
All right, so that'll wrap it up for another edition of
That
the
soon? Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Twin Brothers of Different Mothers, Jimmy Myers, Jimmy Young, Jamie Staffson. Thank you so much for coming in. Cricket, we love you. It's a wonderful thing that you come along.
Cricket,
Are you
thank
blushing?
you.
Are you
Cricket,
blushing?
yeah, she's blushing.
She's blushing.
She's blushing.
We can't see. We've got these lights in our face.
And we'll get Jamie and Cricket
Paul
out there one
Handy
night.
at the Knobscott Cafe. Again, thank you. Thank you for the staff, and thank you for allowing me to actually bring my voice out into the public again, because this is a scary thing, because now not only can they hear us on the internet, but they can hear us here at the Knobscott Cafe. So
Works
come
for me.
on down on Monday night, 6:30 to 8:30. We'll be here again next week,
Wait a
because
minute.
now
Is that why
We're on
all
to-
those people are out there with torches and
Yeah.
and swords? They're ready for us to, and there are people being held back by
No.
police. Is that why they're
you're
there?
dreaming again.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
Jimmy,
Go ahead.
Jimmy.
It was a
We're-
nightmare. Go
we're
ahead.
we're on
I
to
woke up.
Buffalo. We're on to Buffalo.
Oh, no.
We're on to Buffalo. See you next time.
All righty. Take care.
That's what it is.